Hey, how's it going? I'm Al Cox, and today in Buildbox, we're going to do a review of the gameplay type Rush Ball. Got some copyright music. Cool. So I was in this yesterday trying to figure out what was I trying to figure out? Oh yeah, scenes. How one scene jumps to another scene. And after a good amount of time, I was able to do it. And there was actually a lot that I figured out in this setting in Rush Ball in the gameplay type. So I just wanted to go over that because I think it's a great way to see, whoever created this um, did a lot of cool stuff that if you're new to Buildbox, it doesn't seem so obvious. And when I first saw it, I was like, what's going on? I don't even know. So let's just go through the gameplay. And here, we have different scenes. Essentially, if or when the ball hits this little ball, it will destroy the ball and take this character to a random selection of one of these scenes. So it seems simple enough. Let's see it in action. Oh, okay, so I'm not, could get better at the game. Let's keep going. Yeah. So here's me doing an amazing, and you can see the pointer up there, counting each point. Tap to move is probably the wrong. Okay, so what's going on? So my first question in this preset was, where are these spikes? And when talking about presets, there's a video where Trey describes the thought behind the presets. He does DJ, makes music, and if you know anyone that makes music, when they load the music software, there's a bunch of presets of sounds you can use, and then you take those sounds and then you just like edit them and make them your own sounds. So that's kind of the theory behind this. So in this game, you take like these spikes. So you've seen these spikes if you've seen other presets, but my first thought is where are the spikes? You look at every single one of these and there's no spikes. This is the stars is the what is it? This is the set checkpoint, but where are the spikes? So the spikes are actually over in the world UI. Like here, the tap to shoot. Change that. So the spikes are here. They're actually not in the game. They're just in the UI. So it gives you the illusion that it's in the game, which is kind of great because I'm sure it saves memory, which saves space, load time, all those kind of things. So if you have a game where there's a constant element, you can do something like this. I don't think you can animate them, but in this case, that's not necessary, and in your case, that may not be necessary as well. Actually, you might be able to animate them. Well, for now, let's just skip that. Okay, so that's where these spikes are. Now, let's go back into the game. So here's the character, default animation. Defeated animation is particles. Oh. Yeah, so there it is. Which we don't really see because of it's behind in the UI spikes. So this here is a path. This is really cool because I have like little experience in path, and now I have more. Hold on, let me turn this down a little bit. I can't hear myself talk. It's always confusing. So this is a path. These are the different paths. What's cool is if you click on the path, there's two types. There's ping pong, loop, single. Single just means it goes through once. Ping pong is what we currently see, is where it goes back and forth. And then loop is probably the coolest one. So you grab this little plus and you move it, and then you just need, I think you need to have this circle thing kind of loop, and I'm gonna hit S, learn your shortcuts, and when you hit play, it'll just show this one after, yeah. So look here, no, it did, oh, because I didn't select it to loop, that's, and here it should loop. See? Seems like a little skip right there. Oops. I'm just going to do it again because I want it without the skip. Yeah, so look at that. Looks great. So that is the path. Glide is a really great game that just uses path in a way that I'm sure nobody expected originally, and it's also super beautiful, and I'm like 2/3 done complete with that game. So definitely check out that game here, and check this out, affected assets. You can have all assets, specifically only the character, and then not sure the difference between affected, oh, here it's affecting, so this is for this asset here, and then just want to confirm everything. Yeah, affected assets, and then assets all. So here's what's affected is everything, and this is there, I think. Wonder what happens if I go just character. It'd probably do nothing. Ooh, all assets. So yeah, if I did character, then this object wouldn't move. You do all assets. What if you do all? Let's try that. I wonder if the character gets affected too. Yeah, so looks like it does something similar. Let's go back to where it was, all assets. And then, oh, here, so, and then from here, if you wanted to just select a single enemy, okay, so I see what that's for. So you do assets, and then if you want a specific object, enemy, or whatever, you can select it there. Checkpoints. Checkpoints is something this game utilizes and was a great learning experience for me. Here, so here they're randomized, and you can also set it to align scene. So, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with the checkpoints. There's some games that I've played where whether you get to like level 10, once you're done, you go back to level 1. And I don't think anybody really likes that. It depends on the game flow and the game type for sure. But here you can have checkpoints at the end of each level that get you to the to restart at the most recent level. I think we go to action. You can actually have a restart checkpoint. So what else? Oh yeah, this took me a little bit of time to figure out. So here you have this action which sends you to the next checkpoint. So when the character touches this object, which is invisible, then it will go to the next checkpoint. Watch, if I could just put it here, play, and never get to this ball, boom, I'm already at the next checkpoint. But in this setting, in this gameplay type, it's not like, it's nowhere you can see it. So where is it? It's actually here. It is in the default animation. And in this default animation, there's a defeated animation. And the defeated animation is where, this is it. This is the next checkpoint. But how does this character defeat this object? This is just a regular gray object. I don't even think it's an enemy. It's a platform. So how the character is able to defeat it is you look at the object over here on the left. No, here. No, this is the path. Select it here. Okay. Here, yeah. So when you select the left, defeat it here, and you look at the damage. So it does 0 damage, which you can also add health. And technically this has 0 health. If you don't put a health but you add a damage, watch, I'll go ahead and delete this damage and have 0 health. And it should still take you to the next checkpoint. Oh no. Okay, so that's a good thing to know. It has health. Oh, you know what? It does damage. That's why. So, but because there isn't a preset amount of damage it does, it must do 1 damage. So you go here, and that's why actually there's 0 damage. You add 0. Health isn't necessary. I'm going to keep it in just so it stays consistent for me. But obviously the person who made it knows that you don't need health because the default health must be 0, just as the default damage must be 1. But then you should be asking, or I was asking myself, does the character do damage? Because you have to assign damage if you want. And let's just scroll through the character. Here you got the default animation, the move animation, the defeated animation, which is just a particle, cast a shadow, character settings. And here we go, here's some character stuff. Advanced move, linear velocity 0, forced switch button. So when you press the button, it shoots up 350 Y coordinates. And then what you do is you replace it with the current one, which should be 0. In this one, on the start scene, it will be 0. Let's go here to make sure there's no movement. Yeah. And then, so on the start scene, it will be 0. Scroll down. So here we go, advanced move, on start, replace whatever is already set, replace it with 0, 0, so that when it goes to a new scene, 0, so it's not moving. And then lastly, the damage. So here's the damage, you can see it does 1, and so clearly this object gets destroyed, and you can check it out when it goes to, or you can see it go to the next scene. Another piece I learned from Rushball is, let me go ahead and get my Finder window up. Those are just videos. Rushball is background movement. Yeah, I learned a lot yesterday. There's a really long video. This is the short version. Forced movement. Forced movement is set to 0, 0, 0. That is not the default. So if I add this, forced movement, 75, 50, 20. So watch what happens when we have forced movement. Essentially, the character and the other objects, which are not specified by a path, are moving. And you can see this exceptionally well with the background. So let me find, I have a cool gradient background that I created for just playing around purposes. Grab this. Oops. Grab this, move it back here. Get rid of that cloud. Oh, well. And then change it to 90 degrees. Gotta stretch it out. Okay, so watch this. You see in the background, maybe that was too stretched out. You'll see everything moving, and then even the stars. So in this, if you ever have, and I have a separate video on this, but just as a shortcut tip, a Buildbox tip, set forced movement to 0, 0, 0, and then it will stop any movement from happening, keeping everything in one particular scene. You hit this, you're done with that scene, and you go to the next scene. And I think that's pretty much all of it for Rushball. checkpoints. See, I covered that. Here you can see that the character has a, oh, you know what this is? This is the star. Here you can see the collision shape of this. Yeah, let's see everything. I think that's everything. Anyways, I definitely learned a lot just going through this gameplay, trying to figure out exactly how scenes work. So hopefully you learned something as well. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And if you like the video, please like. I will see you at the next video.